about last week where he has played a little bit better. What a pass by Rondo.
That might be the dagger.
Why not? Why can't I be the MVP of the league? Why can't I be the best player in the league?
The Lakers repeat back-to-back titles. The LA Lakers, the 2010 NBA champions.
What happens when an unstoppable force meets an immovable object? What about when that immovable object is literally immovable, and out of shape, and past its prime? Okay, so admittedly, it would have been a lot cooler if we could have witnessed like prime Lakers Shaq going up against early 2010s Dwight, as they're easily two of the most dominant bigs ever at those points. So instead of watching Shaq break a 50-year-old Mutombo in two, it would have actually been a battle. However, in the year 2010, there was a battle between these two, kind of. To understand it, rewind back to 2008, and Dwight had kind of stepped on Shaq's turf when he pulled out the Superman cape as a prop for his famous dunk, or infamous, depends on if you're a Dwight hater or not. But not only was Shaquille O'Neal's career on the decline right around this time that Dwight was rising as the league's next great center, Superman was one of Shaq's many aliases, and so began the long-storied quote-unquote beef, if you even want to call it that. But on this random February day in 2010, who was actually Superman? With the Magic and Cavs seemingly on a collision course for a playoff rematch, this matchup would hold extra weight as Shaq was brought in specifically as an attempt to cure the hole that Dwight Howard had punched into their front lines back in 2009. So today, we'll break down their one-on-one matchup in the trenches, as I hope to do for many classic and underrated battles that happened throughout the 2010s and even the 2000s for that matter. Just an excuse to look at some of the X's and O's for a lot of games that I'm nostalgic about. So, Dwight's just too damn small right here. Shaq was big and out of shape by 2010, but big in the paint works. And what a way to start a game based out of shit talking. Shaq came ready for war. This right here is probably a jump shot today, and actually Howard started taking this in his later years with the Magic. But still, what he chose to do was a strong move, straight into the body of aging Superman. Same exact play, this time with a spin, and oof, I don't know, I think they might have let Shaq get away with one here. But look at the floor. This is why Dwight used to eat with no jumper. Which one of these shooters would any team want to leave open just so they could double? Dwight in the early 2010s was having a field day with like the same 4 post moves, and it wasn't nothing anybody could do about it. Speaking of that, Exhibit B. Everyone thought he was going to that same move, but I told y'all this was a jump shot earlier. He called glass, and imagine if he had had this shot consistently through his best years and even as he started to age. I mean, he added it somewhat, but still I think teams were comfortable just giving it to him. This is only the 5-minute mark in the first quarter, and they let Dwight go one-on-one with Shaq multiple times. A way to sell the fake here. You know 2010 Shaq didn't have nothing for that. Nothing he could do but foul. The one before this might have been a foul too, but this one got called. Clear goaltending. God damn, but still though, look at where Dwight's hand is on this block. The ref just had to give him his props on that one. Now, Varejao was all defensive second team this season, but his frame is not like Shaq's. So the Cavs at least wanted to make Dwight think about something different here by showing help, but he wasn't trying to hear that. Look how he creates separation with that last bump. Pretty much took out the contest. That's what we call weight room. I can't believe they spent time making this graphic. The exact same play, bro. What's interesting here though is that the Magic's offense is almost crowding Dwight Howard a little bit, giving the Cavs chances to get in there and adequately help. But as long as he eliminates the strongest contest, he's just so comfortable with that small hook. Oh, this is prime Dwight. Give me that. Varejao's skill set not doing anything to help allow a drive here. Dwight doesn't even have to worry about him because you live with the Varejao jumper if you have to. Unbelievable how much of a problem Dwight presented for teams back then simply off his size and strength. He's going to nearly the same move on the same play every single time. And this time he was actually doubled a bit. He didn't even care to acknowledge the open shooter. He just split it. This is just physically saying nobody on this floor can guard me. Ah, that switch, that's exactly what Cleveland wanted right here. It's a win no matter what if Dwight leaves Shaq. That would be a good go-to as well because you've got to respect Delonte West as a shooter. Could you imagine if the Cavs had traded for Stoudemire that year like they were supposed to? See, Dwight and the Magic in general are trying hard to stop a Shaq post option here, but then Varejao slides over and fakes a jumper that Dwight bit on way too hard. From there, everything just breaks down because he's out of place. But imagine post-entry options with Stoudemire instead of Varejao, and actually having to respect that space full time. Cavs would have probably won the 2010 title. Same exact thing. Post, clear out, straight to the middle, and oof, you know, for someone they say had no post moves, this is why he was still a problem. This time Shaq didn't even go for the fake, and there wasn't much space to operate. He actually laid it toward Varejao, but he still got it off. Howard was quick along with being strong. Also, Cavs help defense is terrible this game. Finally, Shaq one-on-one. Weak help defense, and what can you really do? He was still like 300 something at this point. One-on-one here is still like a bulldozer in a Toyota. Also, the Cavs did have shooters, so when you could get one-on-one out of Shaq, as in when he still had the stamina for it, they could set up the floor pretty easily to accommodate that, especially in this game if it's somebody other than Dwight. With Howard on the bench, this is just bread and butter. Gortat with single coverage and shooter spreading the floor, bucket. Dwight on the bench, shooter spreading the floor, just Gortat, bucket. Hey, they got Dwight Howard back expeditiously after this. Shaq is like 50 with the old man strength, elbow to the head and all. This is the only option at this point, trial of strength. Shaq at this age can still bend a defense out of single coverage, so you just don't let him catch it. Dwight denied him beautifully here, 3 seconds on Shaq. But as advantageous as a Mack truck on one side is, it's also shit on defense. Good standard action here by the Magic as Dwight is able to slip the screen as Shaq is getting set up to catch Jameer's drive. That fraction of a second Dwight was able to buy with that let him get Shaq further out of position inside the paint. A foul's coming here either way now. That's Shaq's third in the first half. It ain't hard to see why having him did not solve Cleveland's problems in 2010. Trying again. This time Shaq just stood tall. LeBron rushed him as well, but he was hardly affected by the time Dwight got up there. Good block. Problem is that block took Shaq out of the play. He ain't changing directions that fast. Nobody down there to do jack about this. And one. I'm so mad Shaq didn't keep himself in shape. Look at the problems he's given the defense. Dwight just goes for the steal before the defense has to get all bent out of shape. And he knows he's toast when Shaq is low enough. He wouldn't let it go either after he missed. Probably a frustration foul. But if Shaq had taken care of himself, he was big and strong enough to keep giving people problems for at least a couple more years after this. And this is why the Magic were so dangerous. Finally some real help that cuts off the Dwight's middle option, but look who it is floating around there on the perimeter. Yeah, that's a no-no. Bucket. Also, look at the options that double created. Ideally, Parker would have switched out to Lewis. He could have probably contested fast enough, and that looks like it was his idea. So check Matt Barnes diving down the middle. Dwight's gravity gave him a 3-point option and a layup. That's why teams going against a prime Dwight just chose death by 1,000 hook shots. Doubling him so much could just get everybody else going. Howard was super smart in this game. He didn't have the deepest post bag, but he just grabbed what he needed from it, especially here. Good position on Shaq, half spin that he has to bite on because he's basically under the goal, and thanks to that he's cooked. Got a foul or it's a bucket. Say what you want about Dwight in his prime, but he was just consistently going to moves that put his defenders in bad situations. Ooh, no Shaq on the floor because of foul trouble. Get the fuck out, too small, hop step into the post, and fouled. Otherwise it was a dunk. Side note, good idea by LeBron to bring help here given that Dwight was in full attack mode. He didn't really have a good passing angle to any shooter on his side, and he wasn't about to pass to the corner being this open under the rim. Also, just in case you missed this bump on Hickson. Too small. Verajao already dying on this play with the head snap. The Cavs would have had the same exact 2009 Dwight problem if they would have met in the 2010 playoffs. Shaq's probably going to get in foul trouble in that series. You can't bring good help without giving up shots, and his quickness is just so underrated. No fancy move needed here, just drive by Verajao like a guard, get inside, another foul. Shaq's legs are cinder blocks by this point in the game. You had Hakeem the Dream, but this one's just a nightmare. Not only is Dwight staying solid here, but it's the fourth quarter and Shaq's just not fresh anymore. Howard maintains decent enough position, help is showing and discouraging his space, so Shaq tries to pull out a shake and he travels. 6 years earlier this probably looks really nice, but oof. And no. Cavs decide that they can't let Dwight just keep getting what he wants finally. Also, helpful, this is Brandon Bass out here on the perimeter who is not shooting threes. However, very smart dive by him here to put the defense in rotation. As a matter of fact, he's taking Daniel Gibson to the lane, which is probably going to wind up being 2 points. That forces help from the corner. That means nobody can get back fast enough to Reddick. Bucket, and great patience by Dwight. Also, soft double by the Cavs. He really did not have to work that hard for this one. If you're going to bring a hard double, make him think about what's next. Gorgeous playmaking from LeBron here. Entire defense on this side geared towards him. Shaq setting a screen, but watch how Braun meanders this. He rejects the screen and beats Petrus. Nelson for some reason doesn't bother to crowd or apply pressure here. Maybe he doesn't want to foul. Dwight is protecting the rim, so Braun takes notice of Petrus's whereabouts. He drags him away from a diving Shaq, forces Dwight to engage, and an easy look is sitting right there as Lewis just gets bullied out of the way. He's got no business being down there unless he's gonna foul, which that actually would have been a good time to do so. Fourth quarter Shaq, baby. It just don't hit the same in 2010. The Magic seem noticeably more comfortable in letting Dwight deal with him down the stretch, and for good reason. He just does not have the facilities for that at age 37. Not at the end of games anyways. But regardless of age, he's still big enough to catch Dwight slipping on the boards. I think Howard probably wanted an over the back here. Yeah, no good defensive play starts with Shaq switched onto the perimeter. Dwight is gonna dive quickly here to make sure they can't switch back. Anthony Parker under the rim with Dwight Howard. Foul. And that was basically it for this one. So although there is a title out there that claims Shaquille O'Neal schooled Dwight in his old age, it's more like he put up a good fight. And well, he did give get the only poster of the matchup. In reality though, Dwight was clearly Superman by this time, as he'd go on to finish with 22 points, 16 rebounds, 4 blocks, and catch the dub. Shaq definitely didn't do bad for his age or shape either, as he scored 20 points on 9 of 10 shooting, only it was in much less dominant fashion, and he was very much a liability on defense as would be expected. Unfortunately, neither Superman nor Superman Plus would go on to capture the title they were in the running for that year, nor would they even get to face each other in the playoffs. They both fell to the hands of Kendrick Perkins. The end.